And a hearty g'day from Shepparton in Victoria, Australia, as we open the Division II Australian Ultimate Championships 2024. My name is Blair Munro, part of the ULTI.TV crew, who are proudly supported by the Australian Flying Disc Federation Association, to bring you the opening match in our tournament, our women's division face-off between Wollongong Surge and Brisbane's Fuse T. Conditions are great for Ultimate. There is a slight breeze picking up from the right-hand side of your screen, moving towards the left-hand side of your screen, but it is quite gentle. The sun is slowly rising. It's baking away at the frost that was here when we arrived this morning. Teams have been warming up. It's almost a false round to start things off. Only a few games being played this early. Local time is 8:30 in the morning. We'll get into sort of a more fuller fields throughout the course of the day. Coming up pretty shortly after the conclusion of this game. But it's a very, very exciting start for us here. Brisbane Fuse T playing in the light blue kit on the left-hand side of your screen. You see Surge in the dark kit on your screen at the moment. We're going to see Surge with the disc to come out on defense. 70 minutes on the clock. Rex, I think games to 13, 15? Surge with a big pull and an aggressive chase down towards the far end zone, fielded comfortably early. Quick, nice reset through to Millard, putting one wide. Finds Duffy on the near sideline, a little bit of a bobble, but Hamilton is able to secure it, marked towards the near sideline, towards your cameras. A nice little upline cut from Chua. Goes up, and a nice high grab just outside of the fingertips. It's not going to be secured. The first possession of the game is over. The disc is going to go to Surge. Some great pressure on that defense is going to give them an opportunity to work back the other way. We see them setting up in a vertical stack, trying to create those channels on the near and far sidelines to give them a lot of space for those aggressive downfield players to make the most of their energy so early on in the tournament. Fuse T really pushing the disc, trying to make Surge use the far sideline. A nice upline from Coleman. Puts a nice shot long for a pursuing Gomez, but it's just going to be slightly overcooked. Things are going to take a little while to settle in, to really calibrate those throws, find those connections. That's what teams were focusing on in the warm-ups that we saw before the start of our coverage. And looks like there's still a little bit of rust, a little bit of jitters that both of these teams are going to need to shake off. So Fuse T are to take possession. We see Millard with the disc being forced forehand towards the near sideline now. Throws a break across, but it's just outside the hands of Isabel Hamilton. It's not going to be able to retain in the Brisbane side's possession. Coleman with the disc, pressured, but manages to find the upline in Osmond, who puts it up, gets tipped off the hands of the receiver. It's not going to be a score so early in the game. Both of these teams fighting hard. We're seeing this point stretch into 4 or 5 minute territory. It just means both teams are playing aggressive enough defense that those offensive options are not as clean as they would like. We're going to see Fuse T put one out to the hands of Go, but it's not going to come away this time. Coleman and Osmond in the downfield space. A nice early reset to center the desk. Big shot goes up. It's fading in a little early, but it's going to be pulled down by Surge. Pankhurst with the disc. A little bit of pressure. Gets a tip, but Coleman keeps it in hands. Surveying the downfield, looking for an option. Pankhurst going again for the first score of the game. Kate Pankhurst for Wollongong Surge to put one on the board over Brisbane's Fuse T. A great defensive play by Kirsten Millard there to get the touch on that reset. But Gemma Coleman gets involved, manages to get a hand to it. They're going to come back out on defense for the first time, opening the game with a strong break against the side from Brisbane. Mandy Lee with the pull for the surge, touching down at around the brick mark for the Brisbane's defensive half. A nice early pickup. Prado working with Stokes. Comes wide to Bui, far sideline. Nice little inside break there to Bonnie High. Resets around, overthrows. It's going to stretch outside of the field. That's going to give the disc back to Surge. In a great position to score. They've got about 20 metres ahead of them. If they can put this one away, it's a 1-2 punch to see Surge go up by 2, unless Brisbane can really put the squeeze on right now. Pinned down on the far sideline, Mandy Lee to pick up and initiate. We see an undercut. It starts a little slow, but it's not marked so aggressively. We're going to see Huang with the disc. Chipping through to Boehner. Those same inside cuts getting looked off. Great pressure by Fuse T. Huge defense there generating that turn. That one was earned, folks. Tepuia not able to complete the reset. Surge going to capitalize here on this unforced error. Swings wide. Headitch with the disc. To Mandy Lee one more time. Finds Huang. Throws over but curls back around. That's going to be Jasmine Boehner with the score. Second in a row for the Surge to bring it 2-0 over Brisbane's Fuse T. And we are going to see both teams take the field again. 7 aside, 7 players from each team to take the field. Surge to come out on defense one more time, hoping for 3 uninterrupted points. Fuse T under a lot of pressure now, needing to make a change, make an adjustment to really get themselves a toehold in this game. Coleman with the disc again. The ball going to be fielded and centered early to Chua. Threads through the midfield. Finding Gabasa. And a little bit crowded on that strike cut zone. A great attempt there by Hirakawa, but there's pressure from Surge. We're going to see Coleman pick up and initiate. Ho, back to Coleman, puts the big shot up. It's blading over early, but it's going to be brought down. The one-hand take by Maya Osmond is going to put Surge 3 on the board. Unanswered points against Brisbane's Fuse T. Great take there by Maya Osmond to put that 3rd point on the board. One of the Wollongong Surge newbies for the line. We have seen a timeout called 3 is the magic number. Anytime a team gets a 3-way swing like the one we've just seen, Surge 3 back-to-back defensive breaks, some great effort there to close out that point. That's the start of a momentum. That's the start of a train you really don't want to see so early in a tournament or really in any game. So a timeout being called is going to give FuseT an opportunity to really dial in. Where are these cracks in our game slipping in? How do we cover them up? How do we stop the Surge from pushing in and capitalizing on those things? Are they aggressively marking us tight? What changes can we make? And so we'll see what kind of things develop in that gameplay space after this.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, AUCDII, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
ULTI.TV.
Under, we see a shot going up early, and there it is. It's the only change you need to make. Brisbane FuseT putting one on the board, keeping themselves hungry and in this game. A fantastic pull down there by Claire Duffy to bring it back to a 2-point game. Brisbane FuseT to come out on defense for this next point. We're going to see that sequence again. The nice high release backhand, a lot of float, recognizing that Duffy had that deep space over her defender, was comfortably able to just get great position to reel that one in. That was cash. Coach, whatever you said in the timeout worked. It worked. FuseT, a great pull by Millard. A little bit of float, touching down right near the near sideline at about the halfway mark. Coleman once again to pick up, marked by Prado. Trying to cramp. Pankhurst can't get that one in there. Really trying to pressure that space, keeping things nice and tight and close. Good defense there by FuseT. Puts a big shot up, but it's eaten up by the Surge. As Osmond one more time. FuseT able to shut that one down. Bonnie High with a great volleyball spike to send that one to the turf. Edie Miles looks for Prado on that near sideline. A nice low release forehand shot. Puts it up a little bit too high. It's going to give the disc back to Surge. A nice reset to Coleman. The Surge offense really squeezing that near sideline. They're creating a lot of space on that far sideline. A little bit slow to initiate those cuts. A big shot from Gemma Coleman comes up to an unmarked receiver on that far sideline for Surge. Coleman driving this, just slightly out, throwing Pankhurst a second time. FuseT with the disc. Parker aggressive on the mark. Patient, finds Prado, marked by Pankhurst, who's matching Prado's height. Really working with those changes in elevation. Bonnie High to slip one past Coleman for Millard. Puts a high shot up, but it's blading. Can't get a hand to it. Surge to pick up and bring it back the other way. A long field ahead of them. We're now seeing Surge use that same horizontal stack, facing off against the Fuse T zone defense for giving up those individual player matches, looking instead to target space. But it leaves opportunities for players like Maya Osmond to cut through that zone and get a quick bounce reset back to Coleman. Trying to quarterback from the downfield space, calling for cuts under for easier options to really work through the zone. Fotopoulos puts one across to Pankhurst, keeping it in Surge hands. Goes wide. Osmond and Coleman really driving the show here. Eliza Ho with the disc now. Wide back to Coleman in the center field. That's the shot that might open things up. Gomez under a little bit of pressure. Doesn't gain a lot of possession from that opportunity there. Manages to reset back to Coleman, finding Osmond. A nice chip shot through the zone. Some aggressive chase. Ho to Gomez right in the breadbasket. That's going to be Surge up. One more time. The score is 4-1 in favor of the side from Wollongong. That's the one. We're seeing that again, that sequence open up. Coleman taking it a little bit easy, exploiting the opportunities in that zone. And a laser beam straight past the outstretched hands of Hirakawa. Or I think, oh, we'll see that again. A great score by Gomez. Lee with the pull. Hamilton to Chua. Over the top of the Surge defense. Hirakawa really stretching the field. Dehenin with the disc now. Under pressure from Lee. Puts to the far sideline. That's going to be the score. Gabby Callow to put Fuse T back to a 2-point game. The score is 4-2. Fuse T with a great score to come out on defense now. Chua with the disc to pull for Fuse T. We see the signal of readiness from both sides. Nice amount of float. It's going to give the Fuse T opportunity to set up that zone defense again. A lot of signaling, a lot of on-field communication. Hirakawa forces Osmond to go back to Coleman, finds Pankhurst. Really wanting to continue the momentum of the disc in that direction. But it's going to come back to Coleman instead. Having attempted 2 receivers underneath that. Chua's putting the shot up. Coleman gets a touch, and that's going to be just enough to give the Surge an opportunity to swing back the other way. Once again against that zone, but some confident handlers here. Not quite confident enough. Benfield shoots through, gets the turnover. ULTI inside their own brick mark. They've only got about 15 meters or so, possibly less, to score this one. Chua wanted to send that inside break, but the poach defense from Surge is enough to get that discouraged. Comes wide. Finds Callow a second time. Chua has the disc, shot through. That's going to be it. ULTI to bring it back to a 1-point game. We have ourselves an opening match, folks, here in Shepparton, Victoria, at the 2024 Australian Ultimate Championships Division II. Wollongong Surge versus Brisbane ULTI. Chua doing a huge amount of work for the ULTI on these offensive points. Really great to see. And just great work there by ULTI to use the width, the backwards and forwards, building momentum in one direction with the disc, with the cuts, and then slamming on the brakes and swinging it back the other way before the defense has an opportunity to adjust. Millard with the pull for ULTI, coming from the right-hand side of your screen towards the left. It's going to be picked up early by Mandy Lee off the turf. Finds Ruby. We see that same ULTI zone, recognizing what is working for them on defense, helping them generate that turns, but Lee slips through. An opening in the zone, finds Ruby with the disc, far sideline, back to Lee, center field. Chipping through. Lee on a very close reset, despite a great bid there from Millard to try and close that one out. Surge cutting really close to the disc, leaving a lot of space on the table. Great layout there from Nguyen to keep that one in hands. We're going to see the disc go back to Lucinda Ruby, to Lee. Prado making a play, the disc finding turf, but the question is whether or not that may or may not have been contact driven or the disc actually stripped from Mandy Lee's hands on that catch. Now a reminder for the folks watching at home, although most of you will be aware, this is a self-officiated sport, so it comes down to the players to make those calls for themselves. So we're going to see what happens. Great display of sportsmanship. Looks like they're not able to come to a conclusion, so the disc is going to move back to the last uncontested possession, which was Ruby with the disc. Laser shot through to Boehner. Nice little shoulder cut there. It's going to find Simpson with the disc right on the doorstep. High shot up, but Prado's going to get it clean this time. ULTI with an opportunity to work back upfield, and that's going to be a Callahan. What a take. Great work by Nguyen there to just cut straight through, recognizing where that disc was going to be. You can see the heartbreak on Prado's face off that one. Number 44 for the Woolies. A great run through, just huge vision. Gets the block. The disc is still up in the air. It's still live. Secures possession, and that's going to be a point. Surge with a Callahan in the opening match of your 2024 Australian Ultimate Championships. What a fantastic performance on display here. Unbelievable. Surge now with the disc. I believe that we are playing a game to 13. So once the first team reaches 7 points, that's going to be where we take our halftime. We see Coleman with the pull. Once again, a huge player for that Surge side. Does a fantastic job of just cornerstoning the offense, but Chua's going to put the big shot up. A little bit too much fade. A great crossfield attempt by Hirakawa is not going to be enough. The disc had a lot of height and thrown out into good space, but as it came a bit high, the wind gets stronger the further from the ground you are. Just brought it out towards that near sideline. So aggressive defense here could be really beneficial for Fuse. But we're going to see Coleman managing to pull off that reset. The high release to Pankhurst. Threads through. Ho, Coleman, Pankhurst doing a huge amount of work. Supported in that upfield space by Tapuia, but a great cut through by Coleman to leave that a round shot to Pankhurst, who's now peeling away from the defender to just keep that stall count low. Great shot through there. Still working. Surge just taking it 1 or 2 steps at a time, pushing towards the far sideline. We hear the call from Fuse T to push back to a match defense. Gomez with the disc, but can't get it past Chua. Nice line shot there for Hirakawa. Puts it through to Benfield, who outran her hat earlier. Hirakawa has it. The momentum's going back the other way, but a miscommunication there is going to see the disc find turf, giving it back to Surge. Fuse T still in that match defense. It's going to give up a shot to Elisa Ho on the far sideline. Just manages to out-throw Gomez. Fuse T an opportunity to come back the other way. Chua not afraid to send it deep, but as the disc fades, no, it doesn't fade. Waring has the disc, puts the left-hand shot up. It's pulled down by Benfield. Orale Benfield, what a fantastic score to bring the Fuse back within 1. The score is now 5-4. Still in favor of the Surge, but it's anybody's game. This is a different Fuse T to the team that we saw earlier, giving up 3 points back-to-back. They are in it with a fight. Not expecting the left-hand shot. Just a great cut to that side. Enough separation to secure it. Not really sure what the coach of Fuse talked about in that halftime break that we saw earlier. But whatever it was, it's clearly working. I'm loving the confidence from Fuse now. They're a little more aggressive on the defense. They're making more aggressive bids. They're taking maybe riskier shots and having confidence and trust in their teammates to pull those down. And so the disc found turf. Not sure whether or not Nguyen was able to get underneath that, but it looks like they're going to call that one down. That's a great display of spirit. Well done by those teams. The turnover is going to stand. It's Fuse T with an opportunity to tie the game. Millard to pick up and initiate. We see cuts developing from the back of the stack. Dehenin puts it through for the score. That is going to tie our game. And we're seeing a timeout called. Once again, 3 is the magical number. surge. Seeing Fuse T put 3 back-to-back points on the board is going to be enough to shake them. They're going to take a moment, try and slow down the momentum from the Brisbane side. It's anybody's game, folks. The shoe is on the other foot. We will be back very, very shortly. What a beautiful forehand through, despite a great bid from the surge defender for Brisbane Fuse T to tie the game. Millard out to Lily Dehennen. Nice low forehand. Well reeled in by Hamilton for the score. And we will be back for the thrilling conclusion of the first half of your opening match very soon.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch,
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe. AUCDII, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
And so we are going to see Fuse T on your screens at the moment, about to split their timeout huddle. They do not have the adjustments to make. They're the ones who have been 3 on the bounce. They could maybe think about changing the level of aggression, changing the tempo, playing with things a little bit, but the structure that they're adhering to at the moment is working incredibly well for them. They've come down from a 3-0 deficit to tie the game. Wollongong Surge, on the other hand, have started to give up a little bit in terms of their offensive aggression. We're seeing some slips and little mistakes creep into the game, and now it's Fuse who are the ones who are capitalizing on those errors to really generate and fire up and gear up their defensive lines to make those quick connections to close out those defensive points quickly, so they've still got the energy to come straight back out and keep firing. It's an incredibly intimidating thing to be on the field and see the same 7 players who just broke you come back out again and come back out again. It makes them seem indefatigable. It is a huge psychological advantage to not give the appearance of being tired, to just hold on, keep looking strong, to see the opposition not look like they're wearing out can actually be quite an exhausting thing to experience, on top of the physical and mental fatigue that you're accumulating throughout running your hardest, throughout making these throws and the decision making and trying to stay reactive to everything. But that full pull is going to touch down out of bounds. We're going to see whether or not I believe we're going to see Coleman give the signal for the brick. Yes, so she'll take that to a point marked on the field about 18 metres in front of the middle of their defensive end zone. Surge with the disc. We're going to see that same horizontal stack, but rather than a conventional horizontal stack where you have a 3-4, they've got a 3-2-2. So they've got their 3 core handlers setting up in the upfield space to cycle the disc back around. 2 players in the midfield to initiate and cut past the first line of defense. And then our second line of offensive cutters in the downfield space to hopefully close off a quick continuation. So once Coleman and Pankhurst are able to chip past that defense, to Eliza Ho, in this instance, back to Coleman. We haven't seen that second cut develop for that quick 1-2 punch to close out the point. So it's Coleman patiently working with Boehner, with Pankhurst. Through to Ho. To Osmond. Great shot through to Parker. It's right on the doorstep. And that's the invitation in. We see the cheeky tumble from Coleman to celebrate. Wollongong Surge up by 1. The score is 6-5 in a race to 13. The first team to take 7 points is going to be the one who walks away with our halftime. She is style, she is grace. Gemma Coleman here. perfection. So Wollongong surge to come out on defense now. We're going to see a lot of those same players, a lot of consistency on that line, although they are trying to mix things up, trying to keep those legs fresh. Ruby with the pull to touchdown, a little bit of roll, stopping at around the halfway point. ULTI not able to complete the first pass. Surge with an opportunity. Nguyen looks back to Ruby as we see nice undercut from Huang, but it touches over early, and that's going to be ULTI with an opportunity to swing back the other way. Prado a lot more focused and precise, having been through the agony of throwing a Callahan this game already. Manages to make that completion, but the second pass comes a little high, fades back behind the cutter, so it's going to find turf. We're going to see Ruby with Nguyen. Fotopoulos with the disc now. A little bit of a shoulder fake, getting some movement from the Fuse defense. Nguyen goes wide. Lucinda Ruby yet again. Nothing developing on that far sideline, so looking to instead work with Huang to continue that momentum, but it's not going to come away. ULTI have an opportunity. We see Prado with a great cut, shimmying around a knee slide from Claire Duffy. Same team, ladies, but either way, you've kept it in possession. And now we're starting to see the heat get fired up. Stokes puts it up. Fielded wonderfully by Jane Go. Far sideline now. A little bit of miscommunication is going to let Hedich sneak in for the poach block there. Comes back to find Ruby. Near side. Forehand. I think Duffy got a touch on that one. ULTI now, we see Isabel Hamilton with the disc. A little bit of wind, a little bit too much edge on that disc is going to give it back to the Woolies. Wollongong surge. They've been able to close, but something isn't quite clicking for these teams in this point. We're going to see Ruby start again. Hedich trying to stretch the field, pushing deep, pulling two defenders with. Ruby with a little bit of shake and bake, trying to get free, losing yards in the process. Puts the big shot up and it blades early. It's not going to have enough float to get a good read underneath it. Hamilton again. Pushing the far sideline. Is it good? Nguyen with the block, finding the great read. A good position there to generate that turnover. So that same vertical stack, Ruby far sideline. We're seeing cuts developing. But the Fuse defense is trying to be very adaptive, looking for opportunities to switch so that they don't have to work as hard to mark those cuts. Prado with the disc now. Threading it through. That's going to be the score. Caroline Stokes to take the tied game. We are 6-6. It comes down to this. ULTI with an opportunity to take the lead for the first time in the game, and in doing so, take the first half. They're going to come down on defense. Surge are going to make them work for it. It's only 6-6. Yep. Galaxy, yeah. I got you. And so the whistle blows. We are going to see ULTI steeped in the essence of their comeback, ready to push back on defense. But Surge, they've got some really precise and aggressive and athletic offensive players that Fuse here are going to need to contend with. We're going to see Chua with the pull one more time. A lot more length, a lot more floats. Going to touch inbounds. We're going to see Osmond, Coleman. Threading through to Ho. It's that same sequence that we've seen. Pankhurst available as a support option. Nice 1-2 swings, committing the zone, finding those gaps and chipping the disc through. Some great work by the Fuse defense to really shut down a lot of the continuation options, but it's on those swing and return punches that they're starting to lose yards. Coleman once again, hands up, pointing, signaling for what she's looking for. A great shimmy shake there. Osmond managing to slip past Gabasa on that one. But instead, the disc comes back to the near field. That is going to be Osmond for at least her second point of the game for a Surge newbie, putting on an absolute masterclass here as Wollongong Surge take half in this game to 13. It is so close, folks. It's anyone's game. The main thing, the benefit of Wollongong Surge being the ones to close out that half is they started the game on defense. They started the game with those 3 back-to-back defensive breaks. By starting on defense, they will start the second half on offense. And so they will be given the disc for free. They won't have to work for it. And if they can close out an offensive hold, that'll put them back up by 2, which is where they need to be. Fuse T, having given up the half, admittedly firing like anything to bring it back to such a close game. They're really going to have to work to establish themselves in the second half if they want to walk away with the first one of the tournament.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch,
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe. AUCDII, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
Welcome back, folks, to the second half of the opening match of the 2024 Division II Australian Ultimate Championships here at Shepparton in Victoria. My name is Blair Munro, and what a pleasure it is to be here to talk you through what has happened so far. We have Wollongong Surge having taken the half-time in our race to 13, 70 minutes on the clock. Brisbane ULTI with the pull to start us off the second half. Wollongong Surge to come out on offense. Nice and aggressive, but an opportunity here. A clean offensive hold from them is going to put them back at a 2-point advantage. Absolutely necessary if they really want that momentum. We've seen some strong players come out on this Surge line. Lee and Ruby both here, managing to slip through double coverage to find Huang. And that's Simpson. Ruby. ULTI sticking to more of a bit of a scrambly zone defense. Aggressive in some places, but not stopping that continuation towards the far sideline. We see Prasad with the disc now. Faking off the reset, putting a high shot up. It's going to be tipped by the ULTI defense. That is an opportunity for Brisbane. Are they going to be able to capitalize on it? I think that was Waring who got their one. That's Prado now to far sideline, finds Benfield. Not enough developing to immediately fire away that downfield shot. It's Waring yet again. There it is, looking for Gabby Callow. Not gonna find her. Heartbreak for ULTI, but a great territorial option and a huge opportunity here if they can play the aggressive defense that we've seen them play so far. Looking at their offensive line, we've seen some really good patience from players like Coleman and Pankhurst working with Maya Osmond. They have done such a great job of working backwards and forwards and finding those gaps in the zones. We're going to see whether or not that is a skill set that has been distributed and spread throughout all of the players. Whether or not we have some offensive players who are a little bit more immediately aggressive on those shots to put those long shots up. Lee gets through to Hedich, working with Simpson on the far sideline. Back to Lee. Ruby coming back for an undercut, hoping for something to develop in that midfield space. We're still seeing those downfielders in that 3-2-2 offensive structure. Very, very static. A little bit of an undercut on the wing coming through there. Chips through, finds Huang to Hedich again. Lee putting a nice floaty shot up to Hedich, who comes through a double coverage. Huang overthrowing Fotopoulos, not going to be able to secure that one out. But again, a great territorial option. If they play aggressive defense here, they can generate a turn. We've already seen strong players like Nguyen manage to pull through a Callahan from this range. Calls from the sideline, daring players not to score a Callahan. There's big talk. Are they going to be able to back it up? A great aggressive undercut gets looked off, deciding instead to thread the line. It comes back in. But ULTI have managed to get out of that coffin corner, out of that scary space right in front of the end zone. We're going to see Lee pick up and initiate. The upline cut gets looked off. The defensive pressure is too much. Puts a Hail Mary shot up, but Prasad's going to pull it down. Waring in the right place at the right time to generate that turn. Prado calling for a bit of calm as Hedich marks. Puts a nice shot up. Waring's underneath it. Lee's underneath it. Lee's going to say, not today. Immediately returns with a line drive to find Ruby. Puts the high shot up. It's fading back towards Prasad. Prado underneath it instead. We have swings and roundabouts here, folks. The playground of Ultimate in constant chaotic motion. Huge run through, but it's not going to be enough. We see Callow let that one slip away. Surge, an opportunity to close things out. Lee, strong and patient with the disc. A nice around shot to Huang there. Threads through, finds Simpson, hoping to close. Prado is enough there on defensive pressure. That Phantom D, not getting a touch on the disc, but just getting in the line of sight, causing that last second blink. When you stare into the abyss and you blink, that's where those drops happen. Works the line, far sideline working to recenter, finds Benfield. Trying to signal for a continuation up that far sideline, gets looked off instead. Ruby can't get a bite out of that one. Swinging back, throws back over the other way. Prado trying to be everywhere at once, not going to be able to get it in hands this time. Surge an opportunity to take back a 2-point lead. They want this point. An opportunity here. They were given the disc at the start of this point. They've given it up. They've taken it back. They've given it up. They've taken it back. What a take there by Huang. You have got to be kidding. That was under triple coverage from the defense. Lee with a nice grab. Not going to quite be enough to close it out yet. Simpson has the disc. That's going to be the one. No, looks like it's called in. That's Mandy Lee for the score. Wollongong Surge 8 against Brisbane Fuse Tees 6. Folks, if these teams keep performing in this way, I'm not going to stop with the nail biting. I'm going to take it all the way to the knuckle. It's it's just too much. My heart can't take it. Some really, really great intensity on display from both of these teams. Wollongong Surge now to come out on defense. So we're seeing those same hands. Maya Osmond, Gemma Coleman, Kate Pankhurst. Those downfielders as well. Great pull as the wind, not super strong, but still pretty consistent from that right-hand side of your screen down to your left-hand side. So Fuse T are having to work against the wind just slightly. We've got Dehenan with the disc as Coleman slowly closes, finds Hirakawa as a reset. Little bit of contact on the cut. They're not able to clear out as well. It's going to eat up time in the stall count. Throws past, finds Chua, who's going to put it up yet again, but it fades out towards the far sideline. Duffy in hot pursuit. It's not going to be enough. Surge with the disc. Osmond, uncharacteristic turf. It's going to give Chua an opportunity. Resets to Hirakawa instead of putting that long shot up early. Not a lot developing. Slightly overthrows the receiver. A little bit too much height. Pankhurst is there to secure it. Coleman picks up. Big rip. Gets a bite out of Claire Duffy on the fake. Finds a nice little infield chip. Bounces from Osmond through to Coleman. Pankhurst on a great aggressive far side cut. They're in the danger zone now, puts the high side up with the forehand. That's going to be the score. It's Steph Tapuia for Wollongong Surge. The score is 9 to Brisbane's 6. We are back where we started, folks. Surge up by 3. But Fuse T have shown that a 3-point lead is not something insurmountable for them. Yes, it is a game to 13. Yes, Surge are up by 3, but Fuse T have been here before. They were here in the first half. In fact, it's a perfect mirror of the first half. Just about. Those 3 points back-to-back. It was 7-6, went 8-6, it's gone 9-6. 3 points on the bounce for Wollongong Surge. Fuse have been here before. They were able to make adjustments. They were able to make the necessary tweaks to their play, to their intensity, to their communications and teamwork that allowed them to claw back that deficit. They have the ability to do it again. Question is, are they dialed in? And only time will tell. Wollongong Surge to come out on defense. Win with the big forehand, a little bit of roll, touching down just past the halfway point. Wearing with the lefty forehand, taking a lot of yards in the process, finds Hamilton. Shots over the top, who's there? Great chase down by number 22, Lily DeHennon. It's not quite going to be enough. I think there were a couple of players who maybe may have been able to make for a good spot underneath that disc. But it's those sneaky lefties. They're hard to mark. And that's going to be enough to open up the big field. Maybe a little more patience from FUSE-T is what's necessary. Finding Hedich near sideline. Great pursuit by Hamilton's enough to flash off that great shot, but it's an upline instead. Huge take there by Bonnie High for FUSE-T. Struggling to get around for Topoulos, but managed it. Puts a long shot up. Hedich underneath with a touch. Huge play by Hedich there to give the disc back to Serge. Nice undercut from Ruby, but she's not going to be able to get her hand to it. Wearing with the left hand shot straight through to put it on the board for FUSE-T. DeHennon with the grab. That's going to put it back to a 2-point game. Lefties, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And so we're moving right back into it. FUSE-T having done exactly what they did in the first half. They saw that 3-point lead. They said, we're not happy about this. And they put in the work. They grinded. And they really put the effort. Ground? They ground? They were on the grind. They were on the grind. They put in the work. And that's how they managed to claw that one back. Putting it back to a 2-point game. They're going to come out on defense now. Lots of aggression. Aggression and precision. We need to find that perfect union of those two things to counteract the Surge's very clinical zone offense that we're seeing here. Just the thinking, that 3-2-2 offensive structure, those core handlers. So again, Boehner, Coleman, Pankhurst, Osmond, really working in and around the disc. Ho goes back around to Coleman. Shot straight through. Finds Boehner. Coleman with a double step. Goes around on an up line. Surge want to finish. That's the score. Wollongong Surge up by 3. The score is 10-7. So Surge on defense yet again. Andy Lee with the pole, keeps it nice and low, but it's got some legs on it this time. It's going to stretch into the upfield space. Kapasa to Dehenan. Nice shimmy shake to get loose of the defense. Finds the hands of Malin Chua, but can't get it secure. So Surge with an opportunity to take themselves 2 points away from the win. Lee and Ruby working together in that upfield space. Finds Huang working with the sideline now. Fotopoulos to Hedich. Patient resets there. Lee. What a takedown. Wollongong Surge. Wollongong Surge clearly with a Specsavers sponsorship in their back pockets. The vision on that one. Gonna see that again. Nicely done, well floated. Two potential receivers, but it's Hedich who's gonna come away with it. It was nice, that was nice. Good take. In this race to 13, Wollongong Surge up by 2. 63 minutes, 64 minutes on the clock now. We have 6 more until our soft cap. Brisbane Fuse T down by 4. So far, they've had 1 point in this half to Wollongong Surge's 4. This is the widest deficit they've seen in the game. Wollongong Surge have clearly made some adjustments at halftime of their own that seem to be working for them. But right now, it's Millard with the disc working. Near sideline, finds Hirakawa, shoots over the top. Stewart nearly able to get that one and keep it in the hands of Fuse T. Once again, Coleman making calls with the hands. Lots of signals downfield. Who's to cut? Where? Finds Osmond. Far sideline. Thread shot through to Coleman, who gets the momentum. Sends it to Pankhurst. Tepuia for the score. That is going to put Wollongong Surge 1 away from victory. A 5-point lead. Hoping to put away this game right now. But first, they have to play defense. Fuse with an opportunity here to really start bringing it back. We've seen them do it before. We saw them come down from a strong deficit in the first half. They can do it again. Ruby with the pull, keeps it nice and low, touching down towards the far sideline. It's going to give Surge an opportunity to play some aggressive trap defense here, if that was what they'd coordinated. Looks like they are sticking to a match offense or match defense there. Stokes puts a big shot up. And looks like a call has been made. As to whether or not there was contact and what impact that had on her ability to make the play. So it looks like that play is going to be contested as to whether or not there was a foul. So once again, we'll return to the last uncontested possession, which is going to have Stokes with the disc for Fuse T. Now, Surge have seen what was in Stokes' mind before that throw went up. She was looking for a big long shot. Are we going to see them try and stop that same shot again? Great attack by Chua to keep that one in hand. Snaps back with a forehand finding Prado, who goes around. Bonnie High can't close that one out, and so Wollongong Surge with an opportunity now to put the game away. A full field ahead of them, a long march to victory in April. May see them walk away with the first win of the tournament. Prado with a laser show up that far sideline. The cuts being quite... Chua from the knees, no less. What a take. There it is. Fuse T putting one more on the board. It's still a 4-point game. Now as Fuse T come out on defense, Wollongong Surge just need to close this point out. But as Wollongong Surge are only one a little bit of that grab again. Looks like we are going to continue playing as we close out our soft cap, coming very, very close to the end of the game. Fuse T to come out on defense, requiring perfection from here on out. Aggressive on defense, calm and precise on offense. Millard with the big pull. Touching down at around the brick mark to be fielded early. Osmond and Coleman against that zone defense from Fuse T that's worked so well for them this far. Coleman, Pankhurst, Osmond working around the zone. And yet another swing early. No, decides instead to chip through, but that gap gets closed by Benfield to shut it down, putting Fuse in an opportunity to score. Gabasa with the disc. Despite a great foot flash from the Surge defense, it's Benfield near sideline. Lots of big fakes. Engaged. What a take there. Puts it high. Waring with a forehand to Chua for the score. It's fantastic. That is some great work there by number 26 for Fuse T, Waring. And the game will continue. Fuse T within 3. Chua with the disc. Nice amount of float to be fielded by Lee with a quick early give-go. Finds Nguyen cutting through the fuse T zone early with a high side around backhand. Finds Simpson. Through to head edge despite the bidding Chua. Lee available as a reset. We see Nguyen on the near sideline. A nice wide option. She's closing in. Two cuts developing. Putting it through to Simpson. Huang had an opportunity to peel that one off into a deep cut. Maybe get a continuation. Just as we saw Mandy Lee go. Huang now on the doorstep, hoping to close out the game for the Wollongong Surge. Lee with the one-hand take. That's gonna be the game, folks. The winners of your opening match for the 2024 Australian Ultimate Championships here at Shepparton, sunny Shepparton in Victoria, are your Wollongong Surge. But a fantastic performance by both of these teams here on stream. Brought to you by ULTI.TV, proudly supported by the Australian Flying Disc Association, AFDA. My name, as always, is Blair Munro. If you like what you see, head on over to patreon.com/ULTITV. Give us your spare change. Thank you so much for watching, and we will be back with you very shortly for the next game.
ULTI.TV.